Hello, witchy people. You may be wondering why I'm sat here in the dark with nothing but a cup of coffee, a solitary lit candle, and a snoring dog to keep me company. Well, many years ago, I used to run a website called The Haunted Chacha. And on that site, I would write down the tales that people had told me, not necessarily ghost stories, just tales of strange happenings, weird goings on in strange places, eerie places, places that were supposedly haunted, maybe. So if you want to hear a few, grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and I'll tell you some. Some years ago, I was inspired to write a poem after someone told me a true ghost story. The poem is titled The Mournful Stranger. The town was shrugging off Sunday sleep when they found her dead on Monday morn. As dewdrops rested on the window, they found her, one taken so young. They laid her body to rest in peace atop the cemetery at Graveyard Hill, where mist rolled over the stony markers and life holds its breath, and all was still. The village gathered around the grave, all curious to the woman's life, yet no one thought to ask the stranger, stood on the edge of the gathering pride. Head bowed down, his eyes all hid, he stood apart from all the rest. Hands clasped, whitened across him, all respectful, in charcoal dress. Village gossip surrounded the mound where they lay the unknown lass, but tittle-tattle soon ran dry, and the gathering began to unmass. As the crowd thinned to but a few, a woman looked at the lone mourner. She held out her hand and touched his arm, and questioned if he knew her. Stranger gazed into her features with a face that had old eyes. He glanced across to the fresh-dug earth, held his hand to his mouth, muffling cries. Alas, we knew each other well, he choked words through his sobbing. We had a life together once, we shared the joys of loving. But time stopped for me so long ago, and for many years I've waited to claim my love back to my arms and live the life we were fated. With these words the man turned away and seemed to melt into the dew. The mist enveloped the stranger as he disappeared from view. The woman looked around her to see where he had gone, but no one could she see in sight. She was stood there, all alone. So to the cemetery gates she ran, fear wrenching at her lungs. She stumbled blindly to the gates and stopped there where she clung. She took one last look behind her, scanned the stones that stood in grace, and there espied a couple stood, entwined in close embrace. Although she could not be sure, she felt recognition stab her breast. It was the unknown stranger there, with the girl they had lain to rest. Since this day, a story is told of two spirits entwined in time, of a stranger stood at a graveside, and love that death couldn't blind. It is said, on a Monday morning, when dew lay speckled on the ground, there can be heard faint laughter, a happy and echoing sound. Although no one can see a soul, they know the ghosts are there still, two who found and rekindled love on the crest of the cemetery at Graveyard Hill.